Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise of information and pull out the insights that truly matter to you. Today, we're launching into a deep dive that's literally out of this world, yet profoundly and often invisibly shapes your everyday life. The burgeoning space economy. For decades, when you thought space, you probably thought governments, the Cold War race, monumental state programs. But our sources reveal we're firmly in a new era. It's private companies, entrepreneurs, audacious innovators who are now leading a remarkable transformation. Our mission today is to unpack not just how this cosmic shift is generating surprising economic benefits right here on Earth, but also the delicate dance between public and private investment and what the future truly holds. We've gathered an incredible stack of sources, from detailed economic impact reports by NASA and Deloitte to analyses of venture capital trends and insights from global space industry experts.
You really hit on the core of it. What's truly fascinating is how our perception of space has evolved. It's gone from being, purely a scientific frontier to a tangible economic powerhouse.
Right. Not just flags and footprints anymore.
Exactly. It's not just about flags on the moon or scientific discovery in a vacuum. It's about connecting the dots from those initial ambitious government investments to the multi-trillion-dollar opportunities emerging today. Opportunities that impact everything from, say, global communication to the food on your table. We'll show you how this unseen engine is propelling our economy forward, and also what crucial hurdles we need to overcome to ensure its growth is sustainable. Prepare for some genuinely surprising connections, I think.
All right, let's unpack the foundational shift that's made all this possible. When you trace the history of space exploration, what immediately comes to mind is, the Cold War space race.
Yeah, definitely.
It was all about national prestige, technological one-upmanship, think Sputnik back in '57, followed by this intense, often quite covert competition between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. These were entirely massive, state-funded endeavors.
That historical context is so crucial because it makes the current era just so striking. We've seen a dramatic, almost dizzying shift. Our sources clearly show that private companies, names like SpaceX and Blue Origin, aren't just participating anymore. They are genuinely leading the charge.
It's not just a small slice of the pie.
Not at all. This isn't just a few private flights here and there. It's a fundamental redefinition of who is driving space innovation and exploration.
What really struck me in researching this was how something as fundamental as cost became the linchpin for this whole commercial boom. The dramatic reduction in launch costs has effectively dismantled what was, for so long, the biggest barrier. It's almost unbelievable how much cheaper it's become.
It really is.
SpaceX's Falcon 9, for instance, isn't just a rocket, it's a market disruptor. It's made launches affordable in a way, frankly, no one could have imagined even a decade ago.
Precisely. And this cost reduction is amplified by the emergence of commercial spaceports. Think of them like specialized airports, but for rockets.
Dedicated infrastructure.
Exactly. These dedicated facilities don't just enhance efficiency and safety, they create a dedicated infrastructure that further drives down prices and expands opportunities for more and more players to enter the market. It truly creates a kind of self-reinforcing cycle of accessibility and robust competition.
Okay, so we've mapped out this incredible shift in who's leading the charge in space, but let's ground this a bit. Beyond the rockets and satellites, how is this out-of-this-world economy quietly yet powerfully reshaping your daily life and the economy around us? It's often invisible, but the impact is immense. Let's start with a big one, NASA. Our sources reveal that for fiscal year 2023 alone, NASA's efforts touched all 50 states and D.C., generating over $75.6 billion in total economic output.
$75.6 billion. That's staggering.
It is, and supporting an estimated 304,803 jobs, funneling more than $9.5 billion into federal, state, and local tax revenues. What's truly remarkable here isn't just the sheer scale of those numbers, but how deeply that government investment is woven into the fabric of everyday American life.
It's a huge return on investment, particularly when you consider that NASA's budget was around, $24.4 billion?
Yeah, about that.
So while some critics might label these figures corporate welfare or simply a jobs program, that really misses the crucial point of the multiplier effect.
Yeah.
That $24.4 billion doesn't just disappear. It ripples through the economy. It creates direct, indirect, and induced impacts. Nearly 87% of the jobs supported, for example, stem directly from NASA's procurement spending buying goods and services.
Right.
And beyond the immediate economic stimulus, NASA plays this vital role in cultivating our workforce, training engineers and scientists. And importantly, its government-funded research findings are publicly accessible, unlike many patented private company discoveries. This means the benefits tend to diffuse more broadly.
It's astounding to see those numbers from NASA. And what's truly fascinating is that this isn't just an isolated American success story. We see the same powerful economic ripple effect globally. For instance, look at the UK space sector. It contributed over $17.5 billion in income and employed nearly 50,000 people, 48,800 to be precise, in highly productive, highly skilled jobs.
Highly skilled, that's a key point.
Definitely. But the real headline there, I think, is its robust growth rate. 6.4% since the millennium. That's significantly outpacing the wider UK economy and even the global space economy's average growth of about 1.6% during the same period. It shows remarkable vitality.
That really underscores the undeniable global momentum. The global space economy was already valued somewhere between $386 billion and $469 billion back in 2021.
Already huge.
Already huge. But what's truly eye-opening are the forecasts. It's projected to surpass an astonishing $1.5 trillion by 2040.
Wow, $1.5 trillion.
Growing at a solid 5.1% per year. This isn't just a hopeful projection like, oh, it's going to be big someday. It signals a fundamental reevaluation of space as a core economic sector. We're talking about a transformation that will increasingly shape industries far beyond just rockets and satellites. And you can see the commitment in the investment figures. Global investment from 2015 to 2019 was already more than double that of the entire previous decade. The money is flowing in.
So how does all this translate into something tangible you actually use every single day? This is where the spin-offs come in, right?
Exactly. The spin-offs.
Space technologies aren't just staying up in orbit. They're revolutionizing industries and creating brand new economic opportunities by integrating pretty seamlessly with terrestrial systems. They give us capabilities that enable incredibly precise decision-making right here on Earth.
Well, the most ubiquitous example for nearly all of us is the Global Positioning System, GPS. Its widespread impact is absolutely staggering.
We almost take it for granted.
Completely. Back in 2017 alone, the estimated economic benefits were around $300 billion. Get this. $41 billion of that linked directly to reduce vehicle emissions and improve public health.
That's incredible.
Think about it. Whether it's the routing for self-driving cars, the Uber you call, or even the intricate timing needed for financial transactions, GPS is absolutely fundamental. And the risk of losing it is, well, sobering. A widespread GPS outage could result in something like $30.3 billion in damages over just 30 days.
30 days. Wow.
Yeah. Agriculture alone could face $15 billion in losses during planting season if GPS goes down. They rely on it for precision planting and harvesting. But on the flip side, its role in precision agriculture is massive. It's yielded over $5.8 billion in economic benefits since 1998, just from increased yields and reduced costs for things like fertilizer and pesticides. We're talking about, say, a 1,000-acre farm seeing a 150% return on investment, or an Australian farm achieving a 200% ROI just from optimizing with GPS data.
It really puts into perspective how reliant we've become on something we barely think about. It's the ultimate invisible utility, isn't it? Just imagine your maps not working or your banking app freezing. It's a sobering thought about how interconnected we are to space and how essential it is to our modern lives. Then there's Earth observation, or EO data. This isn't just about satellites taking pretty pictures, is it?
Not at all. Originally developed for defense and surveillance, sure, but EO data now has an invaluable and incredibly diverse role. It touches everything from civil government operations to public health.
Like what specifically?
Well, we've seen it bolster efforts to restore Australia's Great Barrier Reef, for example, monitoring water quality, coral bleaching. And it supports NASA-backed environmental justice programs right here in the U.S., identifying pollution hotspots or tracking environmental changes in vulnerable communities. The projections are, frankly, astounding. EO data insights could add over U.S. $700 billion to global GDP by 2030.
$700 billion just from EO data.
Yeah, and significantly advance sustainable development goals. Its applications span agriculture monitoring, crop health, predicting yields, transportation, disaster management, real estate too.
Real estate, how?
For site selection, urban planning, developing smart cities. Insurance uses it for precise risk assessment for natural disasters like floods or wildfires. And for the finance world, combining geospatial intelligence with AI is completely transforming investment strategies, tracking commodity flows, monitoring infrastructure projects. It's powerful stuff.
Okay, so GPS, EO, what else?
And we absolutely can't overlook satellite communications, SATCOM. This is the backbone that enables global connectivity for so many aspects of our lives.
Especially in remote areas.
It's exactly. From television broadcasts to internet access at basic telephony in remote areas where laying traditional fiber infrastructure simply isn't feasible or economical. The $65 billion satellite communications market underpins daily activities, from tracking emissions for environmental compliance to the video conferencing many of us now rely on and the rapidly expanding Internet of Things, or IoT. Crucially, it's modernizing supply chain operations through real-time tracking, proactive monitoring, even integrating with AI and blockchain for unprecedented transparency, knowing exactly where your goods are anywhere in the world.
Beyond these major categories, the trickle-down effect of space tech seems to be everywhere, even in surprising ways.
Oh, absolutely. Think about energy efficiency technologies developed for spacecraft, where every watt counts. Many of those have found incredible Earth applications, improving efficiency in buildings or industrial processes.
Right, making things lighter, more efficient.
Exactly. Or consider the very batteries in your phone or electric vehicle. The initial demand for lightweight, high-capacity batteries for satellites actually spurred early, pivotal advancements in lithium-ion battery technology. We wouldn't have the portable power we have today without that early push.
That's a great point. And what about government savings? You mentioned civil government uses.
Yes, what's often overlooked is how space-derived services also offer significant operational savings for public spending. Imagine more efficient mapping using Earth observation data versus, say, costly methods like deploying helicopters for surveys.
Sure.
Or even tracking and monitoring illegal dumping, fly tipping, as it's often called. Satellites can spot changes in land use indicative of dumping. In the UK, for instance, the Rural Payments Agency has leveraged satellite data since the mid-2000s for updating their land databases. This enables broader monitoring coverage for farm subsidies and ensures a more equitable system for farmer payments.
Making sure the payments match the actual land use.
Precisely. And it gets even more granular. Sentinel satellites are actively being used to monitor peatlands in Yorkshire. This directly contributes to reduced flood risk downstream, improves drinking water quality for communities by filtering runoff, and of course, peatlands are significant carbon sinks, so monitoring their health is vital for climate goals.
That's a staggering amount of private investment flowing into space now. But it makes me wonder, given all that enthusiasm, where do governments still fit in? Is there still a crucial role for public money when private capital seems so eager?
That's a profoundly important question to ask right now. And the fundamental truth is, space technology is inherently deeply risky.
Inherently risky.
Yes. It demands substantial upfront investment and has notoriously long development cycles. Think years, even decades, from concept to operation. This makes sustained long-term private investment incredibly challenging. For instance, our sources indicate that space ventures are statistically riskier than a typical venture capital portfolio. While their potential returns might be much greater, that added risk sometimes means they don't look as attractive on certain financial measures, like the Sharpe ratio, which helps investors weigh return against risk.
Okay, that explanation really clarifies it. Governments then become that indispensable, reliable source of funding and fundamental support.
Exactly. Especially as critical national infrastructures, everything from our power grids to communication networks, financial systems become increasingly reliant on space-based services. Governments have a national interest in ensuring those services are robust and reliable.
Can you give an example of that strategic support?
A fantastic example is the UK government's $400 million equity investment in OneWeb, the satellite internet company. This wasn't just a handout, it was a strategic move. It secured around 400 highly skilled UK jobs. It attracted a staggering $2.2 billion in leveraged private investment on top of the government's stake.
Wow, leveraged private investment.
Yeah, 5 times the public money. And now OneWeb is actively expanding broadband connectivity to remote communities in the UK and globally. It's a clear win-win-win. Jobs, private investment, and public service delivery.
So VCs are investing, but they need that government backstop sometimes.
Venture capital firms are certainly pouring money into space companies, absolutely. But they're often doing so with larger early-stage amounts than you typically see in, say, traditional software companies, precisely because of those extended R&D phases we discussed. It just costs more to get started.
Makes sense.
What's clear from our sources is that investors are maturing. They're shifting their focus from just flashy ideas to companies with solid business models and clear paths to profitability. The honeymoon phase might be ending slightly. They're still looking for significant returns, naturally typically 10 to 15 times their investment for space projects, given the risk. But to attract those VCs now, Startups absolutely need to demonstrate robust financial models, strong corporate partnerships, anchor customer commitments, proving someone will actually buy their service, and critically, that they understand and can navigate the regulatory landscape.
Right, the regulatory side is huge. And beyond the sheer financial investment, there's also the crucial issue of security and standards, isn't there?
Absolutely. Initiatives like the U.S. Space Force's Orbital Watch program are a perfect illustration here. They share unclassified threat data, things like potential jamming signals or cyber threats with commercial satellite operators to help everyone protect their assets. It really highlights this critical intertwined link between public security and private operations in space. We're all kind of operating in the same environment up there.
We're all in this together, yeah.
Couldn't agree more. And the need for shared standards in space technology development is paramount. Without some level of government intervention or coordination, ensuring compatibility and interoperability across the industry, making sure different systems can talk to each other or work together would be a nightmare. These shared standards are what ultimately foster greater innovation and efficiency for everyone involved, preventing a fragmented, inefficient market where everyone's reinventing the wheel.
So, as we cast our gaze towards this burgeoning final frontier, what are the next big leaps we can expect? What new opportunities are really on the horizon? And what major challenges do we really need to wrap our heads around to get there?
Well, on the opportunity front, we're seeing entirely new sectors starting to take shape. Space tourism, of course, gets a lot of headlines.
Right, the billionaire flights.
Yeah, although the potential is broader than that eventually. But also something perhaps even more ambitious, like extraterrestrial resource mining. Think asteroid mining. It holds the transformative potential to, well, disrupt global markets by potentially lowering the costs of rare metals like platinum or cobalt. It could also enhance deep space missions by providing resources like water for fuel in situ, meaning right there in space, instead of hauling everything from Earth. And maybe even alleviate some terrestrial environmental impacts from mining here on Earth.
That sounds very sci-fi, but the potential is there.
The potential is definitely there, though the timeline is long. And then there's orbital manufacturing, using the unique microgravity environment to create new materials. Pure crystals, maybe even bioprinted organs, things that are difficult or impossible to make on Earth. That presents significant future economic potential.
But with great opportunity always comes significant challenges, I suppose. Legal frameworks, for instance, seem like they're still playing catch-up.
They really are. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967, for all its foresight in establishing space as a peaceful domain for all humankind.
Which was crucial back then.
Absolutely crucial. But it also states that outer space isn't subject to national appropriation. You can't claim sovereignty over the moon or an asteroid. While noble, that clause significantly complicates critical issues like property rights. If a company spends billions mining an asteroid, who owns the resources they extract? How is that legally secured? This ambiguity hinders economic development for private ventures trying to, literally, stake a claim out there.
That's a huge hurdle. And what about the physical environment? We hear a lot about space debris.
Yes, and then we have to grapple with the very real market failures emerging in orbit itself. The most obvious are the issue of orbital crowding, especially in low Earth orbit, and the dangerous overproduction of space debris. It's a classic tragedy of the commons problem.
Because nobody owns orbit, so nobody feels responsible for cleaning it up.
Essentially, yes. The good news is that strategies are being developed. There's prevention, like designing satellites to self-deorbit at the end of their life, or using reusable rockets like SpaceX's Falcon 9, which significantly reduce the amount of new debris created per launch. Then there's active debris removal, with missions like the European Space Agency's Remove Debris Testing Nets and Harpoons, and JXA in Japan working on robotic systems. Plus, cutting-edge orbital traffic management companies like Leo Labs using advanced radar to track objects and predict collisions.
So technology can help manage it.
Technology is key. But for any of this to truly work, it absolutely requires robust international collaboration and agreement on rules of the road, as seen with initiatives like the UN Office for Outer Space Affairs, UNOSA, guidelines on debris mitigation.
We also can't overlook the inherent security risks involved, right? These are complex systems.
Definitely. These intricate space systems are susceptible not just to technological failures. I mean, remember the loss of ESA's ELS Earth observation satellite just last year during its controlled deorbit. It highlights how complex these maneuvers are, even when planned. But they're also vulnerable to rapidly evolving cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Protecting these critical interconnected assets demands advanced security protocols and, once again, deep international cooperation on threat sharing and response.
And finally, what about the foundations, the data, and the people needed?
Yes. Finally, for the space economy's long-term sustainability, two critical pillars stand out: data and workforce. We're currently seeing, somewhat ironically, for an industry built on data, a scarcity of the comprehensive high-frequency data needed for effective policymaking and accurate economic predictions in this rapidly evolving sector. We need better tracking of investment, launches, satellite deployments, etc. And equally vital is the human capital. The escalating demand for skilled professionals across fields like aerospace engineering, software development, data analytics. It means robust education and specialized vocational training, particularly in STEM fields, are not just important, they are absolutely essential to meet this burgeoning demand. We need the people to build and run this new economy. So what does this all truly mean for you? We've taken a comprehensive deep dive into how the space economy has dramatically transformed. It's moved from purely government-led endeavors into this dynamic, privately driven sector with immense, often invisible economic impact right here on Earth. From that groundbreaking $75.6 billion NASA contributed to the U.S. economy in FY23, to the vital, almost indispensable role of GPS in your daily life, and looking at examples like the UK's thriving space industry. It's abundantly clear that space isn't just for astronauts and scientists anymore. It's a powerful engine fostering technological advancements, creating high-value jobs, and improving efficiency across countless terrestrial industries that touch every part of our lives.
What really stands out, I think, as we wrap up this deep dive, is the incredible, almost delicate balance we're trying to strike here. We've seen how government investment remains absolutely critical for addressing the inherent risks and the long development timelines involved in space. At the same time, private capital is undeniably accelerating innovation at a breathtaking pace. But the challenges are equally significant, from these complex property rights issues in orbit to the growing threat of space debris and the ever-present cybersecurity concerns. This raises a crucial, pressing question for all of us, really. Given the accelerating pace of the space economy and its immense potential to address pressing global issues, think climate change monitoring, disaster response, how can we collectively ensure that the benefits of this new frontier are equitably shared across all nations, and that its complex challenges are managed with truly global cooperation, not just competition?
It's a compelling thought indeed. Something for you to consider as we collectively navigate this exciting, complex, and utterly transformative new era of space.